show is, by the way, if you feel like hanging out. Nerd news is the topic, and lots of good things. Hey, hello, folks on YouTube and Google and across the world. It is 10 o'clock on the west coast of the United States. It is 0500 GMT on Tuesday morning. This is cBas After Dark, as I frantically try to write it on the screen here, for the 27th of July, 2015. I'm here on Periscope tonight as well, which is not typical. I don't usually do the Periscope thing unless I feel like it's going to be a really good show, and I feel like it's going to be a really good show, Periscope people. So join me here. I would tell you how to find me. The best way, if you're on Periscope and you want to watch the real show, which is when you see me looking over here, I'll even show you. Oh, I'm getting hearts. I can't believe I'm getting hearts. That's so exciting. But yeah, this is me doing the real show here. And here is the phone number you can call if you want to participate. Let me just write this on the screen. 310-776-5869. I feel like, hey, if Dr. Laura can take calls, so can I. We got a lot of nerd news topics. Oh, let me just go for shits and giggles, put my Twitter handle up there as well. I feel like it serves as my name. Oh, man, my caps lock was. Hang on one more moment. This is great television, I know. Best goddamn rehearsal I've ever had. Okay. Switch the color to white there. Okay, good. Well, thank you for being here. I guess I could just do this for the Periscope viewers and sort of conduct only one show instead of looking in two different places all the time. But if I'm doing this, it seems like it's going to work okay. You'll be able to at least see the stories I'm talking about if you're watching on Periscope. And thank you again for those hearts. That was really something else. We got robots to talk about. We got dating websites and hacking and all kinds of good stuff. Who is now going to be doing the music? Thank you for more hearts. How do I gobble them up here? I have to gobble on this side, right? Gobble, gobble, gobble. How do you gobble up the hearts if you turn sideways? Gobble, 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 gobble. I'm gobbling up the hearts on Periscope. Talk about nerd news, man. This is exciting. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to go back over here, and you can watch me here, and we can talk about the stories I have to talk about, because it is my goddamn show. But suffice to say, if you want to comment, tell me your favorite nerd news. Is my hair all right? Your favorite nerd news story of the week, or just your favorite, whatever. I have not been on in about 3 weeks, and so I feel like that is it's a big deal that I'm even here at all. I've really been kind of half between sick and then working a new job and really trying to do a good job at it. The only show I've been doing is my Saturday show, and that's a fast food, junk food specialty show. So I have about 6 weeks worth of nerd news piled up on this. And we're starting with the Ashley Madison website. If you know what Ashley Madison is, then you know what this story is already. The company behind Ashley Madison, which is the popular online dating service marketed to people who are trying to cheat on their spouses, has said that their site's been breached by hackers who may have obtained personal data about the millions of members. Now, this is not just a website. This is a website devoted to cheating, marketed to people trying to cheat on their spouses, says this article. And this is the New York Times, by the way, we're looking at, from about a week ago. The group of hackers behind the attack, going by the name Impact Team, says that they've stolen information on the 37 million members of Ashley Madison. And to prevent the data from being released, the hackers said the company needed to shut down the site entirely. Now, that's like a week ago, and it's because I have not been on, I feel a necessity to kind of go on here and see. I don't remember hearing it ever got leaked, but I also don't remember hearing if Ashley Madison commercial will know. I just want the Ashley Madison news story. The first website is, of course, ashleymadison.com, which I'm not going to click on. Here's a 6-hour-old article on Salon. Vice. Here's a good Vice I really actually have a good respect for. You probably heard Ashley Madison. The online dating site for cheaters was hacked. 37 million people who had their accounts on Ashley Madison may have their data released. But it's not just data, right? It's their names, addresses, credit card information, and specific kinks. All right? So all of the sexual fantasy, now it may not be their real names, but if their credit card information is there, then probably their real name is findable. And if, as far as the specific kinks, that's the game changer, isn't it? Like, I mean, think about that for a second. I just think about that for a second. Like, I don't subscribe to this site. I mean, I'm just kind of not doing the dating thing right now, I guess you'd say. But like, to have put all your specific kinks, you know, you're there to cheat. So you're there doing the thing that no one can know that you like, whether it's being a furry, which I'm just learning about the furry thing. I mean, I've heard about it, but I'm really only just learning about it. And the sad thing about it is it really freaks me out. As much as I like to be open-minded, I think that's weird. And it's not cool to sort of judge people, I know. And if I know there's people who are into it, and I don't judge my friends who tell me they're into it. And I've had one friend say he is a furry. But, you know, it's like being into women's clothing or, you know, particularly women's underwear for men. It's like, what is it? I mean, it's like being into bondage, I guess, or 50 Shades of Grey shit, right? I mean, but whatever you're into that you can't tell anybody about, your secret kink, your taboo, right? That's who you go. That's the stuff that you put on the cheating site. So for that information to get released is just, you know, I find that fascinating. And I mean, because I don't have a horse in the race, I'm kind of like, I'm down to see whose information gets released. With millions like that, 37 million, I think the article said. Yeah, I'm okay with learning that information because I know I'm not one of them. So I'm okay with learning the information about everybody else. I mean, for instance, and I don't like this story, but Bill Cosby, right? We found out what Bill Cosby's into because dozens and dozens of women have come forward saying a very similar story. And, you know, I used to try and I was probably the last guy trying to defend Bill Cosby, saying, no, but maybe they're just trying to get a settlement, you know, because he does pay them off. But I think that ultimately, yeah, when this many women come out and say the exact same thing like that against a guy like Bill Cosby, who everybody thought was clean as a whistle, clean as a Jello pudding pop, well, all right, yeah, it's probably not a false story. But I didn't want to talk about Paul Harvey. No, Bill Cosby. I didn't want to talk about Bill Cosby. I wanted to talk about Ashley Madison. Let's go back to the story here. A lot of people say this is just karma, according to Vice.com, but invading people's privacy is not cool, and it's undeniable that shit is going to start getting really real for Ashley Madison users. So we reached out to one Ashley Madison user who previously wrote for Vice about what he learned from using the site to get his reaction to the hack and blah, blah, blah. So what were your initial thoughts? When I first found out, my initial reaction was to Google Ashley Madison hack data every 20 minutes or so, just to keep up with what was being released. My wife isn't particularly into tech and isn't likely to find out by accident, but if my name's out there, I need to be the first to know. Have you calmed down about it at all? Still checking regularly? Do you know if any of your personal data has been shared? You can check here. Nothing so far. What is that here link? That's the question I have. Oh, God. You ever get one of those sudden itches, those sudden severe itches in a very specific place? It's like, feels like a bug's crawling up my nose, but I don't think there is. Okay. Have I been owned.com. Do you know this website? This is something I'm learning about this very second. Oh, now this is sort of like the misspelling of owned, right? P-W-N-E-D. You've been owned, but because your finger was too far right on the keyboard, you've been pooned. It's not supposed to be like pawned, right? It's different, but breached websites that have been loaded into this service. So apparently you can check to see if your information has been. This does not release the information, but all of these companies have had accounts. Adult Friend Finder. There's another one in the same category, right? Adult Friend Finder. In May 2015, the adult hookup site Adult Friend Finder was hacked and nearly 4 million records were dumped publicly. I didn't even hear about that. I was doing this show at that time and I didn't hear about that. This is a website I need to be able to check regularly. This is badass shit. Cannabis.com. Okay, Domino. I mean, some of them are very large, but some of them are very specific, and it makes me think, all right, well, that's interesting. The Cannabis.com one is interesting. Who's outing potheads? I don't know. Lizard Squad accounts, Minecraft Pocket, Tesco accounts, Pokemon Creed accounts. Apparently, Adobe is the big one. In October 2013, 153 million Adobe accounts were breached, with each containing an internal ID, username, email, encrypted password, and password hint in plain text. The powered cryptography was poorly done, and many were quickly resolved back to plain text. The unencrypted hints also disclosed much about the passwords, adding further to the risk that hundreds of millions of Adobe customers already faced. Is there a date? Yes, October 2013. All right. Adult Friend Finder, May of this year. Compromised data. Okay, let's look at this. This is what I was talking about, right, a second ago. Date of birth, email, gender, geographic location, IP address, race. All that's, bad enough. Relationship status, sexual preference, spoken language, username. Now, I'm taking from this that sexual preference doesn't just mean gay or straight. It might mean furry or into women's clothing or into bondage or whatever. Like, it might mean kind of all of that sort of thing. And I think, oh, God, if that information is going to be out there, it's about to get real. And it's not just about to get real for the people who use Ashley Madison. It's about to get real for the people at the Adult Friend Finder. Now, again, though, you kind of have to do a meta-analysis of that, I feel like, because think about it. Okay, how many millions of people's information is out there? Can I go back to the story for a sec? God, this nose is still itching. Sorry, I look like I'm just picking my nose on camera. That's not what's happening. But where is my... No, not that. Sorry. Infinity! I need to be able to go to this website here. Okay, because I want to finish off the interview with the guy, for one thing. But I feel like, what a weird new world. All right. Do you know if any of your personal data is being shared? You can check here. Nothing so far. Honestly, having my name on a list of 37 million people doesn't bother me that much. Having it in a local paper is more of a worry. See, and that's kind of what I was saying. If you're on a list of 37 million, I did this thing where I went to this website to see if my information was among the information. Have I been owned, right? Which I know mine wasn't, because I don't have Bitcoin and I don't use Bell Canada, but I have eaten at Domino's Pizza in my lifetime, so maybe some of my information is out there. I don't know. Is my sexual preference going to be on the Domino's website? Probably not. And it's probably only people at the website, right? If you just ordered a Domino's Pizza, you may or may not be in their system. But, well, I guess I can assume that, or I can read what it says. Domino's Pizza in France and Belgium. Okay, well, Domino's refused to pay the ransom. 6 months later, the attackers released the data along with troves of other attacked accounts. Amongst the customer data was passwords stored with a weak MD5 hashing algorithm and no salt. I think that's somebody trying to be funny. But yeah, so is it people who ordered a pizza? Is it people who use the website? I'm not fully clear. Gawker, okay. Gawker was attacked by Gnosis in retaliation for what was said to be a feud between Gawker and 4chan. This one's interesting to me because there's been drama at Gawker recently. Information about Gawker's 1.3 million users was published along with... Again, okay. I guess I could go to the dark websites and try to get those files or whatever, right? Just to see what you can see. Because that might be mildly interesting, but until you know where to go to get that, like, to be able to just check your own information to see if you're on the list is kind of not... I don't want to say it's any less serious for the people who are having it happen to them, but I feel like, if you're on a list of 37 million, unless you're famous, that's the other thing. If you're the president of the United States and your name is on this list, there's trouble in your future, right? But if you are just Joe Schmo, it's hard to say. And I feel like also there's a sliding scale of that as well, right? So it's president, celebrities, I don't know, like newscasters, teachers, policemen, all the people who are sort of otherwise possibly able to be hurt by that kind of a thing. I don't know. It's fascinating as hell, though, isn't it? Juicy as hell, especially since it didn't happen to me. Let's continue on with this interview. Which your personal data feels the most sensitive to you? All I care about is whether my name is made public and if someone tells my wife. Otherwise, I have a very relaxed attitude to my personal information. I don't give a shit if some hacker knows what weird sexual stuff I'm into. I just don't want to have to get divorced. At least not while my mother's still alive. Okay. Is there any part of you that feels relieved this hack happened? Hell no. I'd happily stab the little shits who did this. Has your wife talked about the hack at all? No, I doubt she knows Ashley Madison exists. What about lovers you've met through there? No. After 18 months of being a cheating scumbag, I saw the error of my ways and stopped, sure. Although I actually came perilously close to being caught, which brought the error of my ways into sharp focus. I haven't stayed in touch with anyone from that site. So, all right. Has your partner caught you cheating before? My last AM affair ended up with me getting blackmailed. I had to instruct an attorney to scare her off with threats of legal action, which worked. That is the closest I've come to getting caught, and it was enough to scare me straight. That sucks. Anyway, do you think the hack will impact you at all? Only if my name gets published. If it does, I'm fucked. My wife, entirely reasonably, wouldn't see the funny side of me cruising the internet for sex. Yeah, so have you deleted your profile? Oh, what a good question. That ship has sailed. No point deleting it now. Are you taking any other steps to retain privacy? No, just not cheating. For you, what's the ideal outcome? That they pay someone to kill the hackers is the ideal outcome. Or that Western Europe suddenly experiences some kind of cataclysm, and in the post-apocalyptic society that emerges afterwards, my cheating matters less than the daily fight for survival. What about other AM users? Do you think they'll continue to use it? Do men shit on the Pope, etc.? I don't know what that means. If they leave, where did you think they'll go for discreet hookups? Not idea. No idea. Not my world anymore. Okay, well, that was kind of an interesting interview, if not, all that valid as far as a source. Like, it's just some guy who once used that website and claims to, not anymore. And this is from 3 days ago. Ashley Madison hackers released info of a man who paid to erase his profile. An Ontario man who was once registered on Ashley Madison, an online dating site that promotes infidelity among married people, said the company paid the company to delete his profile a couple of years ago. Imagine his surprise when he found himself one of two registrants whose personal information was leaked earlier this week by hackers who have threatened to disclose data if the website isn't shut down. The hackers also outed another man who lives in Brockton, Massachusetts. I mean, part of me thinks, okay, if you were the people who ran this website, right, these people are knowingly cheating, like going in. Nobody's blind to the reason any of them are there. So to be threatened with shut down your website or we'll release your users' data, if I were the owner of that website, there's a big part of me that goes, fuck the users. Like, nobody, we understand what identity theft is now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it is not, oh my God, they stole my credit card. This has been happening for many, many, many years, all my life, if not longer. Just we didn't have the internet then. So how much of this is a surprise? Like, and what's the person at the website thinking? Yeah, fuck them. It's their own fault, essentially, is what I think. I don't know. Anyway, this guy says he paid $19 to have his personal data erased from ashleymadison.com. Let's go back to the website here. I haven't been on the site in a long, long time. It's a stupid website. You just go to see what is out there. It is pretty much a waste of time to join. He said he paid $19 to have his personal data erased from the site and was utterly shocked when his name was released by the hacking group. It appeared the company had apparently kept his information in some form despite having paid for its full delete service. So, wow. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Since this is also not my world, I have worlds, but this is just not mine. Like, nothing at all close to my world. And I'm thinking, okay, they have a that's kind of sinister genius in a way. It's $19 fee to fully erase all of your information. We cannot guarantee that we will not erase all of your information unless you pay us $19 to do it. That is also fascinating. I did not know that was a thing websites were doing now. Paying to belong? Yes. Paying to subscribe? Yes, I get all of that. But paying to have your name erased is not something I've heard of really until this very show. So I'm like, holy fucking shit. If you have examples, have you heard of this longer ago than me? 310-776-5869. You can text or call. It's not like you can only call. So if it's easier for you to text. And I do get texts now, which is weird. I'm like, are you receiving this? I'm like, yes. Hello, who is this? And it's like, oh, I was watching. Okay, cool. Thank you. Always glad to have people watching and texting. So feel free to text anytime, 24/7. Or call. You can leave a message if I don't pick up, or you can just speak to me live on the air, which is like the most ancient thing in the world. Or tweet me, because Twitter is our friend. Was on Periscope, but the app crashed, and I didn't feel like stopping the show enough to go back and try and restart that shit, because it does completely occupy your attention. Let's look at this other website. Is it okay to shoot down your neighbor's drone? Okay, the good folks at Gizmodo did a really good article about, is it okay to shoot down a drone that isn't yours? Gizmodo says no. First of all, damaging any flying robot is a federal crime. It doesn't matter if it's crashing your pool party or watching you in your underwear through the skylight in your master bath. This Connecticut attorney and publisher of Drone Law Journal says it is never okay to shoot at a drone, shoot down a drone, or otherwise damage, destroy, or disable a drone, or attempt to do so. To do so is a federal crime. We may view a drone as creepy, loud, annoying, scary, sophisticated robot, cool toy, target practice, but in the eyes of the law, a drone is a full-fledged aircraft and deserves the same kind of respect that these aircrafts deserve. Now, let us actually read the federal law here. Sorry, went down the wrong pipe. Whoever willfully sets fire to, damages, destroys, disables, or wrecks any aircraft in the special aircraft jurisdiction of the U.S. or any civil aircraft used, operated, or employed in interstate, overseas, or foreign air commerce shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. What does that mean? If you attempt to gun down a flying robot, you could face those 2 decades in the slammer and maybe a fine of up to $250,000. So legally speaking, shooting a drone could be the same as trying to damage a chopper or 747. Aircraft is a pretty sweeping definition, it turns out, and that could work in the favor of the drones. This applies even if a drone is hovering over your backyard, by the way. This is not just as long as it's not on your property. According to the FAA, it controls all airspace from the blades of grass up. All airspace. However, even if you did own X feet above your property, you would not be permitted to shoot down a drone that flies within that space, because shooting any aircraft is a federal crime. So, under the law, that is, you just shot at an airplane. Since when did a flying remote-controlled robot become a legally binding aircraft? Not that long ago. It was only last November. In 2011, Raphael Perker shot a commercial with one of his drones at University of Virginia. The FAA decided to fine him because he'd flown his hobbyist drone way too low, close to buildings, cars, and pedestrians. A legal battle ensued, and ultimately the NTSB ruled drones are considered aircraft and are subject to the FAA regulations. So you may have seen the video of the firefighter that sprayed the drone with a fire hose. Another guy had to pay $850 after shooting down his neighbor's drone. The FAA spokesperson said they consider unmanned aircraft to be aircraft, but the damage issue is more of a destruction of personal property question that is outside our jurisdiction. The DOJ did not respond for comment. So, okay, here's another one. One reason to shoot down a drone legally, and this is the only one. And I like this previous paragraph, actually. Unfortunately, you can't bring drones down just because you think they're a nuisance, or even if they're invading your privacy. There is, however, one plausible reason that could result in your whipping out a shotgun. If the drone is intentionally trying to harm you, then you can probably shoot it down. But this is only if the drone is swooping and trying to ram itself into you, or was outfitted with some illegal ammo of its own and started opening fire. Now that sounds ridiculous until you see the other recent footage that surfaced very recently as far as a drone with a gun. Yeah, somebody, and it's not like a drone with a customized weapon for the drone, right? This is a drone with a plastic apparatus that has a trigger pulling mechanism that can, by remote control, pull the trigger and fire the gun. Now, aiming is another question, but if you could fire a gun from a fucking drone and not have it, go completely hog wild, which it didn't. There was a kickback, but they sort of had learned how to fly it. Can we see that video? I'm just sitting here talking about it like a moron when we could actually watch. It is startling video. I'm not anti-drone, I don't think, and I'm not really even all that anti-gun. I mean, I'm anti-stupid people having guns, but I mean, who isn't? That's not saying much. But I'm not a big gun fan, even though I was raised in a gun culture and a gun thing. Let's see here. Drone with gun. Here we go. Oh. Police arrest. Let's see what InfoWars says. Police arrest the teen who built the gun-firing drone. This is news to me as well. As of July 26th, which is one day ago, here's the video of the gun-shooting drone in action. Let's watch this. It's only a minute. Oh.
On the beach!
Want to stop assaulting me? Get off of me!
I'm gonna beat your ass, you little motherfucker!
Can someone call the cops? I'm being assaulted!
Okay. Can someone call the cops? I'm being assaulted! Okay, homemade multi-rotor with a semi-automatic handgun mount on it. Again, it's going to change the game. Rules ban firearms mounted on civilian aircraft, which would include civilian drones. So, I mean, it's against the law, which I'm sure there are gun nut people who are angry about that because, this is a slippery slope and what's next. But just the physical existence of it, just the sheer, on a visceral reaction level, just like the fact that is a thing in the world now. That it's kind of, I looked at that and I'm like, fuck, I'm like, God damn it. Now I gotta, it's not like I didn't know drone guns existed, but so civilian homemade drones that have a gun mount that any old gun can slip into, essentially. It's like, God damn it. I don't like this world that we live in, I don't like a lot about it. It's just fucking pissing me off, and just kind of in general overall, it's not getting better. It's getting worse. All right. So let's see, who is going to do the music for Star Trek 3? Let me actually pull that news story up, because that's a much more happy story, and it's important for Star Trek fans, if nothing else. I think it's Michael Giacchino again, so it's not really a surprise. Music. Star Trek music on Google News brings up nothing, because Star Trek 3 is that much of a shitty movie. Star Trek, fuck me, I had a story here. I guess I will just have to do a search for it here. Music. Let's just do a search for music. There's another music story, actually, we can bring you now, because that's the one that came up when I typed in music, and it's a really good story as well. Who does Siri refuse to play? Siri will play your music, right? I don't have any music on this phone because this is not my main phone. But if I were to go play smooth jazz, it has to hit the Wi-Fi, and there may be, I don't know, maybe Siri's full of shit tonight. Sometimes Siri works. Oh.
I'm really sorry about this, but I can't take any requests right now. Please try again in a little while.
Couldn't take any requests right now. Please try again in a little while. What's my name?
You're Sebastian. But since we're friends, I get to call you, you sexy motherfucker.
I don't know if you've seen me do this before. I've done it before on this show. I'm trying to see if it's at all readable. What that says is, you're Sebastian, but because we're friends, I get to call you, you sexy motherfucker. That came from the Big Bang Theory. But if it can answer that, it should be able to answer the previous question. Play smooth jazz. Looking for smooth jazz.
You need to sign in to use iTunes Radio.
Oh, I don't have it even signed in to iTunes on that, so whatever. But this is not a case of that. This is because I'm not signed in and I don't have any music on that phone. But Siri will, if you have music on your iPhone, play a music or play a song by artist. You can say play Britney Spears. I don't know why you would, but you could. And then you could say, you know, play Michael Jackson, play the Beatles, play whoever is on your phone. And, you know, it goes through the artists and it finds it. And if you just ask for an artist, it will play a random song from that artist. It's very cool. But there's one artist that apparently some people cannot make their iPhone play. And, come on, where is that damn article? Here. It's Taylor Swift. Siri refuses to play Taylor Swift songs from Apple Music for some people. Here's the story. Earlier, I noticed that Siri wouldn't play Beats 1 in some cases, but it seems the situation is far graver. It's flat out refusing to stream Taylor Swift songs for some users. So, sorry, this song isn't available for streaming. That's what it, as Terry said there. His colleague Nate got the same result in the U.S. Sorry, Bad Blood featuring Kendrick Lamar by Taylor Swift isn't available for streaming. However, Amanda, one of the other who has an Irish iTunes account, found that individual songs and the album 1989 were easily within Siri's reach. I have a UK iTunes account. When I asked to play the song, I was told they were playing, but they didn't. So it's all kinds of shit going on here. I tested Siri with requests for AC/DC and Dr. Dre, both artists who also submitted the streaming world with the launch of Apple Music, and they worked fine. What's so special about Swift? Okay. So it's unclear. That's just one of those stupid online kind of rumor stories, essentially, but it was happening to some people. There were indications of it happening. I don't think we've heard an explanation or anything like that from any of the Siri Apple people, but good times nonetheless. I'm really liking that earlier website. Let's go back to, here we go. This is the Star Trek music story I was trying to bring to us. Is it going to play here? Maybe not. Okay. Yes, here we go. Trek Today. Literally an article from, I think, this past week or so. Michael Giacchino is going to score Star Trek Beyond. Now, I'm not really into the concept of a third Star Trek movie after the last one. Most people who know me know that last one really pissed me off. The first one about half pissed me off. It certainly was a shitty movie. But one of the upsides of some of that shit was, and I've always said this, always since the beginning, I have said that I like the casting of the movie, and I like the music. The music was really good. And I'm pretty sure it's been Michael Giacchino the whole time. I know he's also done a couple of the Mission Impossible movie scores. And I really love his work. Like, I really like him a lot. I'm actually a Michael Giacchino fan. And I have a couple of movie scores that were by Michael Giacchino. So he, I guess, tweeted he's excited to be working with Justin Lin and the rest of the Enterprise crew on Star Trek Beyond. He said, "Let's boldly go." Okay, well, that's all there is from that story, but I feel like, well, it's a good story. Let's talk about the Android problem. There is a problem with Android operating systems, and since I am now an Android user, let me try and get that story up here. Android phone vulnerability. Come on, baby. Vulnerability. Here we go. 950 million phones vulnerable to being silently hacked. This is not a small story, right? This is a big deal if you have a Android phone. A huge vulnerability in Android has been uncovered by a researcher who revealed that devices can be hijacked using nothing more than a simple text message. And before you think, well, as long as I don't click on an attachment to a text message, just like the old email thing, right? Well, as long as you don't click on the attachment to the email that is infected, then it won't infect your computer and you'll be all right. This certain apps in your phone pre-read certain links or pre-test certain files, I guess, or pre-run them or something. For instance, if you are an Android operating system user that also uses Google Hangouts, this may affect you. The exploit's believed to affect almost all Android devices in use today, including those running all versions of OS from Android 2.2 onwards. This guy discovered several vulnerabilities in a core component of the OS called stage fright, which is used to play, edit, and create multimedia files. He describes this latest security flaw as the worst Android vulnerabilities discovered to date, adding that if Heartbleed from the PC era sends a chill down your spine, this is much worse. I suppose I should look up what Heartbleed is to really remind myself. He found that some of these vulnerabilities could be exploited to remotely run code on the device, simply by receiving an MMS message or watching a specially constructed video file in a web browser, or even viewing a seemingly innocent web page with embedded media content. As PC World explains here, the library is not just used for media playback, but also to automatically generate thumbnails or extract metadata from video files like length, height, width, frame rate, channels, other similar information. This means users don't necessarily have to execute malicious multimedia files in order for the vulnerabilities to be exploited. The mere copying of such files onto the file system is enough. What makes this threat particularly troubling is it doesn't require any authorizing action on the part of the user at all. That's the part that's scariest. Drake points out, your phone could receive a message while on silent while you're sleeping. It could execute the malicious code on the device and then set the MMS message to delete itself. So you'd never even know your device just got owned. There's this word again. I don't know how to verbalize this word. Pooned, owned, whatever. Sorry, I'm getting a soda. Just one moment. All right. It is 10:38 on the west coast of the United States. It is 05:38 GMT on Tuesday morning. Sorry, I was getting a new beverage. I could have just taken a break, I guess. Here's one thing I'm going to do. All right, a couple of shop talk things here, just while we're talking. Well, it's just you and me. I've been doing this show a long time, actually, almost a year, just to kind of keep my chops up. I'm hoping actively nobody watches, because I'm practicing, right? I'm just getting kind of back used to doing what I used to do. And I'm an English teacher now, and I like that, but I also like the outlet. I like this particular form of creative outlet. One of the things I do for the Trekkie website sometimes, my little Trekkie club I belong to, is I produce promos for the streaming channels that look very much like TV commercials, like promos you'd see on television. Using the same style, an announcer voice, the same imaging and phrasing and mental constructs like, channels and networks and that kind of thing. And one of the things I'm going to do for this show in the upcoming weeks, I've set goals for myself to create certain intermission graphics, opening and closing graphics. I don't know what else I can do. I have some stuff I want to do, and it's just a matter of sort of making sure I don't get too lazy, because this job I have now is very, very laid back. I'm very good at it. Over and over again, I'm told by my students that I'm actually really good at being an English teacher online, and both engaging the minds of the advanced students in new and creative ways, but also not scaring off the level 1 students, which I thought was going to be my biggest flaw, my biggest sort of trouble with this job was going to be, I thought, talking to people who don't speak English. Because I'm very fast. I've always spoken very fast. But when you're aware and you can see on the screen what level they are and their name on the sort of screen, it's not video, but it is audio. And then there's a chat room and you can see the names in a list. And you can see their level and other information. And so I can see where they are and what their level is, so I know. And I'm getting better, and I'm actually really good now at talking to and guiding people who cannot really understand. You know, you hear words spoken at you in another language, and you sort of try to make your brain decode it, or you sort of try to pretend like you don't understand. But if you can sort of fake your way through it, that's kind of half of it until your brain starts the decoding process. I'm going to try and adjust this because it's really warm in here. And I thought I had turned the cooler on, and I was hoping I had not turned the heater on. All right. A couple more stories to bring to you, though. That Android operating system thing, really, I don't like to read. Because, goddamn, you know, fuck. Okay, the guy who discovered it didn't just publish the vulnerabilities. He created patches and gave them to Google in April. He says that Google added the fixes to its internal code base within 48 hours. But Lollipop is not on all devices. It's only on 12% of devices. And apparently they think that 95% of the Android devices that are in use are still affected. So, yeah. Because many manufacturers and carriers abandon their devices after 18 to 24 months, rolling out no further updates after that initial period, he believes it's optimistic to believe that even 50% of these devices will be patched, which will still, even if that's optimistic and that comes true, it'll still leave 450 million users at risk. We're going to learn more about this in the first week in August. Drake is going to present the details on his research and more information there. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Let's look at the new Lenovo commercial, or let's see here. Where is the story? This is from the Wall Street Journal, and I really like this story. This is actually for back in May. But I feel like it's a really good story. I just love reading about displays, you know. How much better will displays get? They're getting so insane, and they're almost too good in some cases. I don't like them. Long associated, blah, blah, blah. Lenovo is trying to make a splash in the world of cutting-edge gadgets by hosting a technology conference for the first time and unveiling prototypes with some unusual features. The Lenovo Tech World 2015 also features some big names in the industry. Holographic computing they're talking about, artificial intelligence research, the new Windows 10 operating system, and the importance of hardware partners for Microsoft. This is the mixed reality of the holographic computing future. The presentation was almost entirely about the company's artificial intelligence research that makes translation more accurate and convenient. He took a photo of an item in a restaurant menu written in Korean, and the phone's software immediately provided him with the Chinese translation of that item. He also demonstrated voice translation functions by talking to the restaurant's waitress. So, that's cool. Any Star Trek fan will recognize that right away. That's the instant translator, what do they call it? Universal translator. And yeah, I mean, we're almost there now, truthfully. If you know anything about translating technology, you know translate.google.com is a website you can go to, and they also have apps for the iPhone and the Android. And you can just kind of translate something in text on the spot. And now you can actually do it, I guess, with either pictures or voice, not just having the text, which is cool. I mean, for any Star Trek fan who watched Captain Kirk wield the Universal Translator, now it's just built into our phones. Artificial Intelligence Center in Silicon Valley was opened last year by Baidu, and Stanford researcher Andrew Ng was hired. He is the founder of the AI research project at Google to head the new institution. One of the prototypes is a smartwatch called the Magic View, dubbed the world's first dual-screen smartwatch. Dual-screen smartwatch that tries to solve the problem of the tiny size of smartwatch screens. The second screen, just under the main watch face, uses optical reflection to enable the viewer to see a virtual screen that is 20 times larger. Wow. Fascinating. Okay. Lenovo is also unveiling a smartphone called the SmartCast, which comes with a built-in projector and motion detector that lets users project onto a large virtual screen onto a table to type with a virtual keyboard much larger than the one on the phone screen. Also navigate phones with it. I have had a laser keyboard. I don't know if I've ever shown it on this show, actually, which is weird because it's totally not one of the new gadgets that I have. I've already decided, by the way, with my new job, the gadget that I buy first is not really that much of a gadget, but I really want one. I want to have the Soda Stream soda carbonator. I cannot wait for that. It's going to be good. So that's going to be like $99 out of my or initial paychecks. But it's going to be good because I will not have to have Mountain Dew Sangrita Blast. I will be able to have my own beverage, carbonated to the level I desire. All done in the blink of an eye. Okay. So I was really liking this Lenovo story, even though it's old, like 3 months old. And I mean, that's old in technology reporting time. Let's go back to the article, though. Tech World is part of Lenovo's attempt to reinvent its brand image. They overtook Hewlett-Packard and became the world's largest PC maker 2 years ago. They've also bought IBM, and they acquired Motorola Mobility last year. So they're also the third largest smartphone vendor by shipment after Samsung and Apple. Lenovo is the third largest smartphone vendor. Crazy. I'm just reading. Yoga line of tablet laptop convertibles has had some success. I guess that's like the Microsoft Surface that I have, or the iPad, right? Tablet laptop convertible. I guess, is an iPad really considered that? That's considered just a pad. But it's a good article, and I just like reading about the new technology, you know? I feel like that's sort of one of the reasons I do this. It's not just because it's interesting to me personally, but it affects a lot of people. That Android thing, 950 million devices affected right now, and optimistically, only half of them will ever get patched. So what that weakness will turn into as far as the old shitty, Android phones from 3 years ago that were cutting edge at the time, like the iPhone 4, but now are laughably outdated. The planned obsolescence thing. We should consider that as a topic for maybe Epistemology Day on Thursday. I'm going to do an Epistemology Day. It's a discussion about kind of philosophy stuff and knowledge theory and epistemology and so on. That's what I want to do Thursday. Game Show Tuesday, I'm still putting together, and a Media Watch Wednesday, I have all kinds of stuff that I'm going to talk about. And I've actually been just collecting stories. I really haven't done, it's not just the nerd news I haven't done. The only show I've been doing has been the Fast Food Junk Food podcast. And so, I've been saving stories the way I go through, marking shit on Twitter and saving them, and like dying to talk to them. But I'm either teaching class or a couple of nights last week. I'll be honest with you. I was planning to bring back the show last week, but didn't wake up in time. A couple of nights in a row. Like I went to sleep right after my 9 o'clock class and woke up at like 10:40, slept for an hour, well into the show. So I'm back. For now, I'm going to keep the show at 10 p.m. Pacific time, 0500 GMT live. Now, I make a big deal about the time of the show, and I know that's stupid in a way, but I'm hoping you'll bear with me because live is important, and knowing when it's live means you can call live, right? You can text me live, and I will return. I'll say something back. Participation is a big deal with me. So while I don't actually have a chat room, like I always put the phone number on, that's also textable. I'm making a big deal about saying that. The Twitter account is another way. I should actually normally put on the Skype information as well. Oh, good Lord, what have I done? Okay, let me put on the Skype information here because I am Sebastian.Coons.1 on Skype. And I can put that over, yeah, like that. If I sit over here, I'll be fine. Okay, God, is my hair too long? Do I need to cut my hair? I don't like even really looking at the camera shot of myself, but it's like, well, look at that, dude. Like, there's a lot of hair. And I like having it longish, but you tell me. Text me, tweet me, Skype me. Should I cut my hair? That's the question of the night. Let's go back. We've done all of these stories, I feel like, right? Have I been owned? Is it okay to shoot drones? If you missed any of these stories, the gun-firing drone, big success at Lenovo. I was going to do my Robot 2 Electric Boogaloo thing, but I might save that. But I guess we've done all the other stories, and Robots 2 is more than 10 minutes worth of robots. We could talk about them real briefly. Let's just do the real brief version of the... I won't even look at all the robots, but home robots. Because I'll be honest with you, before my first paycheck from this job even came, was looking up home robots. I had a bug up my butt that a home robot was what I was spending my first paycheck or 2 paychecks on, which is ridiculous and it absolutely is irresponsible and I should not. But it did not stop me from shopping. And I was blown the fuck away because home robots are going to get here a lot faster, I think, than... Like, I think they'll be here in my lifetime, which makes me happy. Now, home androids, I'm kind of okay without. I feel like that's... And I'm not creeped out by androids, but I do feel like, you've seen iRobot, you know what a whole bunch of super strong, man-shaped, man-sized androids can be. I'm okay with a little robot, R2-D2 size or smaller, that can, you know, do Siri functions and that sort of thing, just with verbal... There's a whole bunch of blog posts about social robots, but this is the one I was talking about, Pepper. Can we see where Pepper go? Here we go. This is from The Independent. I saw a video of Pepper in Japan. This is the Pepper, and the Japanese consumers, by the way, snapping up these humanoid-looking robots. This is from independent.co.uk. These social robots cost less than £650. I think that's like $1,300, and are designed for the home. They are more WALL-E than Terminator, and are meant to be personal companions and one of the family. And again, imagine a little, you know, scooting robot on 2 little wheels, or maybe let's say 4 little wheels or something along the ground. This, you know, no higher than your knee, you know, smaller than your pet. And you could just say, you know, okay, Google, or, you know, hey, Siri, make a note. Remind me next Thursday at 10 a.m. to buy pickles or whatever the hell, you know. Because I use Siri a lot. And Siri plus the note-taking feature changed my fucking life. I will tell you that right now because I love being able to have digital notes. I don't like slips of paper. Little slips of paper really piss me off. And Post-it notes kind of really, I don't like seeing a whole row of Post-it notes along computer monitors and all that stuff. I'd much rather have it be digital. If it's digital in a text form, you can search for things in it. You know, there's a million reasons why it's better. And if the only thing that would make text better is if you could dictate text into your phone and have it remember that, you know, and you could be a long note, a long screen. Make a note.
Okay, I can take that note for you. Just tell me what you wanted to say.
Okay, comma, Siri, comma, I want to dictate a story, period. I need to be able to tell the story in about 9 minutes, comma, before the show on Nerd News Monday ends, period. This is the first show back I've had in a while, and I want to be able to continue without interruption. Oh, I guess it stopped, but okay, well, let's see if it can translate all that. I think it should be able to... Well, you just saw the problem with Siri is if you make a really long note and then it doesn't go through, then you've lost everything. But you can say, make a note. I have to touch it only by the glass. If I touch it only by the glass, then the antenna works. These fucking iPhone 4s are horrible, I tell you. There's something wrong, and I can't help you right now. Okay, well, make a liar out of me, Siri. Thanks very much. But the point was, you can actually, and I do have a notepad that goes back as long as I've had any iPhone. Because even before Siri, when I had the iPhone, this notes function, I understood, was great, and it was syncable. You could sync it in your MacBook as well as your phone, and any note you made anywhere was easily accessible to you. If you remember that you wrote a note about skiing, but you can't remember what you said about skiing, all you got to do is search for skiing in the Notes app, and every reference to skiing that you've ever saved will come in. And the searchability thing did not become clear to me right away. I just knew that I wanted to be able to write shit down without slips of paper everywhere. But being able to go back to, I mean, seriously, let me just go back to the oldest notes I can pull up on my iPhone. And as I said, this goes back, okay, this is back, here's one, 9/30/2010. So this is a note that is almost 5 years old. I don't understand what it means. It is 2 first names and 2 stuff to spend money on. I had a budget from 2010 on this. So imagine if you make a budget, like you can adjust it, you can email it, to yourself or text it to yourself or whatever. Like to have a digital notepad has always been something I love. To have it be connected to a voice, a working voice dictation robot, yes. The only thing missing from it now is have Siri, well, work all the time, but be mobile, right? Be a Roomba, essentially, and follow me around, or just being able to hear me from across the room and come over. Now, the Japanese social robots are going further. That's what we'll look at next week on this show. Because there are robots that have conversations with you, and when they have facial expressions, it does get a bit creepy. I'm not a person who's easily creeped out, but I felt uncomfortable when I read a couple of these articles about some of these home robots. The one I like most is Osimo, and I think I like him most because he has a face shield that makes him look like an astronaut. You can't see a face or a smile or a grin. Like, there was a movie called Moon, a science fiction movie. Maybe you've seen Moon. The robot is voiced by Kevin Spacey. It's not an android. It's this kind of large computer thing that kind of can slide itself through each room in this complex on a track. But it can't move from the track, and it can't go walk on its own, or it doesn't have wheels. But it does have a little screen, and on the little screen has a happy face or a frowny face, depending on the systems, like Macintosh style, old early Macintosh computer smiley face. Yeah, that movie Moon had a very creepy artificial intelligence, voiced by Kevin Spacey, I think, and it was good. But yeah, I'm more into the faceless robot. HAL I like better than Data. R2-D2 I like better than C3PO, But I do want him to be able to roll around on wheels. So we will look at Pepper, and we will look at Osimo and all the other androids next Monday on Nerd News Monday. It has been 1 hour. I'm kind of losing my voice. I don't know if you've noticed, so I'm going to wrap it up here. Leave us wanting more. Tomorrow's Game Show Tuesday. Watch this space for the next. Follow me. I'll follow you back, of course, and hope to see you next time on cBas After Dark. It is now 11 o'clock p.m. on the west coast of the U.S., and it is 0600 GMT. Have a good night.